China's aircraft carriers are now operating east of the second island chain. And this is a game-changing move in the Indo-Pacific balance of power. Welcome to GeoFrontline, your front seat to global strategy and rising geopolitical flashpoints. Let's dive deep into what this means for the US, its allies, and the future of the region. The second island chain has long been considered a strategic buffer zone for the United States and its allies in the Pacific. Stretching from Japan through the Mariana Islands and down toward Guam, this line has served as a maritime wall against potential Chinese naval expansion. But now, Beijing is pushing beyond it. The recent movements of China's aircraft carriers, particularly the Shandong and Fujian, have placed them not only in the South and East China Seas, but east of the second island chain for the first time in a sustained, coordinated operation. This is no routine drill. This is a calculated signal. Let's unpack what's happening. For decades, China's naval doctrine focused on the first island chain, which runs from Japan to Taiwan and down through the Philippines. This was the defensive perimeter. But in the last 10 years, China has shifted strategy, going from coastal defense to far seas operations. That change has been supercharged by China's investment in blue water naval capabilities. Long-range destroyers, nuclear submarines, and now multiple aircraft carriers. The Shandong and Liaoning have been in service for some time. But the Fujian, China's third and most advanced aircraft carrier, is believed to be undergoing sea trials. It's not just bigger, it features electromagnetic catapult systems. Similar to those used on the U.S. Navy's Gerald or Ford-class carriers. Now imagine 2 or 3 of these Chinese carriers operating east of Guam, a key U.S. military hub. That scenario is no longer hypothetical. In early 2025, satellite imagery and maritime tracking confirmed that China's carriers were conducting flight operations east of the second island chain. Not near it, not skirting it. Beyond it, that raises immediate concerns in Washington, Tokyo, and Canberra. Why? Because this changes the military math. The second island chain is home to key U.S. bases: Guam, Saipan, Tinian. These locations are crucial for logistics, surveillance, and rapid deployment in any conflict scenario, especially one involving Taiwan. If Chinese aircraft carriers can operate with impunity beyond the chain, it complicates American response strategies. It also forces the U.S. to rethink its force posture across the Pacific. Let's look at the timing of this. China's expanded naval operations come as the U.S. and its allies have been reinforcing their own positions. The Philippines has granted new EDCA sites to the U.S. Japan is boosting defense spending to levels not seen in decades. And Australia is moving ahead with nuclear-powered submarines under AUKUS. Beijing sees these moves as a containment strategy. And it's responding with its own projection of power. What's equally significant is how China is operating. This isn't just one carrier sailing alone. It's part of a carrier strike group protected by Type 055 destroyers, supply ships, and even cyber-electronic warfare capabilities. These groups are training for real combat, not ceremonial cruises. Analysts believe this is part of China's attempt to normalize its presence beyond traditional boundaries. The more often they do it, the more accepted it becomes. A strategy sometimes called salami slicing in the strategic community. So what happens if tensions spike over Taiwan? Here's where it gets serious. In a Taiwan conflict scenario, Chinese carriers east of the second island chain could create a two-front dilemma for U.S. forces. Instead of just defending Taiwan from the west, the U.S. would need to guard against carrier-launched strikes from the east as well. And it's not just about Taiwan. A strong Chinese naval presence in the open Pacific challenges the U.S. ability to resupply and reinforce. Not only for Taiwan, but for Japan, the Philippines, and even Australia. Let's talk numbers. The U.S. Navy still holds a clear edge in terms of global reach and tonnage, but in the Indo-Pacific, that gap is narrowing. China now has the largest navy in the world by ship count, and it's growing fast. The new Type 004 carrier reportedly under construction will likely feature nuclear propulsion, giving it global range. That would put Chinese forces on par with US capabilities for extended missions, something unthinkable a decade ago. Meanwhile, China is investing heavily in anti-access area denial A2, AD systems, including DF-21D and DF-26 missiles, the so-called carrier killers. These systems target American carriers in the Western Pacific. But now, ironically, China's own carriers are vulnerable, and that raises the risk of escalation in any standoff. Let's not forget allies. Japan has reconfigured its Izuma-class carriers to operate F-35B stealth jets. South Korea is planning a light aircraft carrier. India is watching China's moves with concern. The Philippines is now more aligned with Washington than at any point in the last 30 years. Even Vietnam is deepening military ties with the US. All these moves point to a broader Indo-Pacific security realignment. Centered on one question: how far will China go? China claims its intentions are peaceful. It argues that its carriers are a normal part of national defense and that the US is the one militarizing the region. But actions speak louder than words, and right now, the People's Liberation Army Navy is doing a lot of talking. So where does this leave us? For the United States and its allies, the next step is likely to include more freedom of navigation operations. FONUPs, in contested waters, forward deployment of forces in Japan and Guam, strengthening alliances like AUKUS and the Quad. Enhanced intelligence sharing with Pacific nations, and a new focus on anti-ship and air defense systems in the region. We're entering a new phase of Indo-Pacific power competition, not just over territory, but over the freedom to operate. And China's move east of the second island chain may be the clearest sign yet that the battle for maritime supremacy is no longer theoretical. It's already underway. Thanks for watching GeoFrontline, where we decode strategy, alliances, and global power shifts. Make sure to subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the curve in international affairs.